Riverside. This is WHAS 11 News.
I didn't think it would ever happen, as they've been talking about it since back in the 60s.
And right now at 4 o'clock, they're calling it the home stretch of work on the East End Bridge, that final gap that was installed today. Sky 11 up this afternoon to show you the work in progress. Are we still on target for that December opening?
Oh, let's hope so, Rachel. Lots of sunshine out there in Louisville, but some downpours farther east developing, kind of pushing back to the west a little bit. More on that, and when the heat takes a break on that 7-day, it's coming up.
And learning more about a terrible tragedy, an accidental shooting leaving a 12-year-old boy dead, his younger brother not expected to face any charges, what we know tonight about that gun. And funeral services for 2 nuns murdered in Mississippi, one with those ties to Kentucky. And tonight, their alleged killer confessing to the crime. But first, a real sign of progress as the missing link is put into place on that East End Bridge. Good afternoon, I'm Rachel Platt. And take a look at Sky 11 above the East End Bridge. The final gap is now in place. Most of that work underway there. Louisville's East End now officially connected to southern Indiana. That final span being installed today. WHAS 11's Holden Kerwicki joining us live with what's being called the home stretch of work before that December opening. Holden.
Well, Rachel, it was a neat moment to experience in person. Boats gathered on the river to see the final span lifted into place, and a barge sounded its horn so workers could stop to witness a moment that has been years in the making. And according to a couple of guys who have been there since they broke ground, what comes next could be even more exciting.
It's a day that many Utica residents like Carl Morrow say is long overdue.
I didn't think it would ever happen, as they've been talking about it since back in the 60s. And it's just amazing what they've done here.
Since construction on the East End Bridge began in 2013, Morrow has stopped by every day, snapping a picture of the progress. His favorite shot so far?
Those guys up so far out there on those tires, from the water to the top of the tire, I think they said it's 300 feet, and that's a long way up there.
Crews have been working around the clock since construction began to ensure that the project stayed on schedule. But today, they took a short break to gather around the center of the bridge as the final span was lifted into place.
We've had to endure a lot of, tough difficulties. We've had a couple of tough winters, a couple of floods, cold weather. So they've worked through it all and just done a tremendous job.
The work being done here is expected to last for at least 100 years, but the men involved hope it delivers more than a speedy commute.
And it's estimated that over years that these projects bring about $87 billion worth of economic development to southern Indiana and Kentucky.
It's going to create some jobs. And that's what we need around here. We need some good paying jobs.
While there is still work to be done on the project, one thing remains certain about its completion.
And I'll be there to see it, take pictures of it.
Crews are now working to get the cables set and finish the concrete deck and barrier walls. The goal is for the bridge to be ready for traffic before Christmas, provided that there aren't any delays. Live in the studio, Holden Kerwicki, WHAS 11 News.
All right, Holden, thank you so much. And traffic will be moving again over the Kennedy Bridge this October. Crews are working to convert the bridge into all southbound lanes. When it opens to traffic in October, the Kennedy will only carry 2 lanes of southbound traffic. By later this year, all 6 lanes of the Kennedy will be open for drivers. The newly built Lincoln Bridge will carry all the northbound traffic for I-65, but tolls on those bridges won't begin until the Kennedy fully opens or the East End Bridge opens. And as for those tolls, they get closer to becoming a reality for Kentuckiana drivers. Riverlink wants to help you get ready. They have opened customer service centers on both sides of the river, in Louisville at 4th and Main and in Jeffersonville on Quartermaster Court. The offices are now open Monday through Saturday. Riverlink staff can help you request a free transponder and set up a prepaid account. There are no toll booths. Everything is electronic. The transponder will automatically deduct the toll from your prepaid account when you cross the bridge. And if you don't have one, cameras will take a photo of your license plate, and then you're going to get a bill in the mail. Tolls range between $2 and $12 depending on the size of your vehicle and whether you have a prepaid account. For more information, head to WHAS11.com. Well, we've been paying the price of hot weather, hot and humid again today, but some relief on the way. Meteorologist Jared Heil with what we can expect. Some clouds for you, Jared, from Sky 11.
Yeah, some big tall clouds out there. These are some downpours farther east from Louisville that are pushing back to the west into that heat and humidity that we have in place. We'll take it full screen for you and show you those downpours that are popping up across parts of eastern Kentuckiana. This is over mainly Henry as well as Shelby counties. And yet again, some of that very dark cloud activity supporting some heavy downpours as they move west at around 10 to 15 miles an hour. Graphics full screen here. Max HD radar also showing just a few clouds and maybe a couple of downpours off and on across our eastern counties and farther south as well, but not much going on here in Louisville. Henry County seeing some of that rain, thunder, and lightning. That's the cloud we were looking at just a few seconds ago. Very close to Newcastle, Eminence, also farther south, northeastern Shelby and the northern half of Franklin County. And then southbound we go, more downpours popping up, mainly east of I-65, southeast of the Parkway region, just toward the southeast of you folks in Springfield, also scattered about Greene, Taylor, as well as Adair counties. The larger view from Louisville westward, quite a bit of sunshine and hot temperatures, the rule for today. Here's your live Morgan and Morgan HD camera network view from Kentucky One Health. Lots of sunshine, 92 degrees here in Louisville. That feels like 95, felt like 96 last hour. Any way you slice it, mid to upper 90s for that feel-like temp in the city, Rachel, at this point. Here's that forecast for the evening into tonight, falling from the 90s into the 80s, even 70s after dark. We have more chances of rain by the middle of the week, and then we've got football season kicking off first day of September on Thursday here in Louisville. That weather forecast could not be better. Got that coming up in a few minutes for you.
All right. Thank you so much, Jared. We appreciate it. And grief counselors were on hand at Stewart Academy today as students mourned the loss of a classmate. 12-year-old Tremaine Brown Jr. was shot and killed by his 11-year-old brother yesterday at the family's home on Penway Avenue. It is the Hallmark neighborhood near Algonquin Parkway. We have learned that the gun used in the shooting belonged to the boy's mother. It was licensed. That mother of 5 wasn't at home at the time of the shooting. Tremaine was the oldest of the children. His neighbor still in shock over what happened.
The last time I seen him was yesterday right here on my car. He was with his brothers. They was riding their bikes and scooters and stuff, eating popsicles, running up and down the street with each other.
Police are investigating tonight, calling it an unfortunate tragedy. It is the second accidental shooting involving a Louisville child just this month. A 4-year-old girl shot herself with a stolen gun she found in her home on August the 11th. That shooting taking place in the Park Hill housing complex. That girl was rushed to Kosser Children's Hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Police discovered that the gun was stolen, but neither the girl's mother nor her boyfriend would claim ownership. No charges have been filed in that case. And tonight we are on your side with reminders about gun safety with young children in the home. Experts say to take the ammunition out of the gun and keep it locked away from the gun itself. Hiding that gun is not enough. You need to make sure you put it up high where children cannot reach it. Parents can also purchase items like gun safes and trigger locks for added protection.
These are the most valuable things you have in your life. So if you're talking about a couple $100 for something to keep it safe or whatever the cost is, that's it. You got to spend it. You got to do it.
Our Shay McAllister is on your side with more advice for parents. That is coming up tonight at both 5 and 6 o'clock. Hundreds of people filled a cathedral in Jackson, Mississippi this morning to remember 2 nuns found stabbed to death in their home. One of those women has ties to Kentucky. Sister Paula Merrill from the Sisters of Charity Nazareth in Nelson County and Sister Margaret Held from the School Sisters of St. Francis of Milwaukee worked as nurse practitioners at a clinic in rural Mississippi. At today's memorial service, the women were praised for their lives of service while their families thanked the community for their support.
Totally overwhelmed by the support from the community, from Paula's community, from Sister Margaret's community, from the Holmes County people who are here, from the church community. It's just absolutely overwhelming, but so reaffirming.
And to let you know, the man charged with the nuns' murders, Rodney Earl Sanders, has confessed to the killings but did not give a reason. Sister Held will be buried in Wisconsin, while Sister Merrill will be buried at her congregation's headquarters. That is in Nazareth, Kentucky, in Nelson County. And sad news now from the entertainment world tonight. Actor Gene Wilder has died from complications from Alzheimer's disease. The frizzy-haired actor starred in Mel Brooks's movies like Young Frankenstein and The Producers, but he may have been best known for his role as the charming and slightly odd Candyman in the original version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Gene Wilder was 83 years old.
We wanted them to see this, to remember what exactly it is they could be facing whenever they go out on the street.
And still ahead, a local police department starting each week by remembering officers killed in the line of duty. One police chief calling it his duty to remember. And he is back in the news for all the wrong reasons, talking about Anthony Weiner and new allegations of sexting. Tonight, his wife, a top aide to Hillary Clinton, says enough.
Learned a long time ago, don't jump in the middle of any of that.
And counting down to the Cardinals' kickoff this Thursday, Coach Petrino holding a news conference today saying he's ready. Our Kent Spencer with what else he had to say coming up at 4:30.
And here's the rain we have northeast of Louisville, pushing slowly west. There could be a couple of showers closer to the city a bit later on this evening. We'll look at that forecast in just a few minutes. Right now, your Kentucky Lottery jackpots, Mega Millions, $84 million. The Powerball, $154 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education.
And now to one local police department honoring fallen officers from all over the country. As Hillview officers report for work each Monday, they're faced with a grim reminder of just how dangerous their jobs can be. Our Julia Rose on why one local police chief says it's his duty to pay tribute.
This is Kenny Moats, a Tennessee police officer shot and killed a few days ago while responding to a domestic violence call. Although he wore a Maryville police badge, he's now forever a part of the Hillview department.
He's no longer with us. He probably did not think that was going to happen that day.
Officer Moats' picture now hangs next to dozens of others in the hallway of the Hillview Police Department, a memorial for fallen officers across the country.
We thought it would be nice to do something to show respect to the officers who were killed in the line of duty.
William Mahoney is the chief of the Hillview Police Department. Every Monday morning, he comes in and logs on to the Officer Down Memorial page, printing out the names and bios of the officers killed over the last 7 days.
You have to scroll all the way down. All these officers are all the officers that have been killed in the line of duty.
The weekly routine is a sobering one for Mahoney and for all of the Hillview police officers who walk by the wall daily.
And we wanted them to see this, to remember what exactly it is they could be facing whenever they go out on the street.
And to remember the men and women in blue, who they call family.
We all go out and we do the same job, whether you're in Kentucky or Louisiana or Dallas. Our job is to go out and deal with problems that most people don't want to deal with.
Mahoney started the wall back in January and unfortunately says he can't remember a Monday where there were no new names to add. Some weeks are harder than others.
I mean, those officers that were in Dallas, they were doing nothing more than trying to provide safety.
But regardless of the city or circumstance, every time an officer is killed, the Hillview Police Department mourns, knowing it could be anyone.
And it always says things such as, they've been a police officer for 5 years and they're survived by their wife and their 2 children. And I think that's what really makes it hit home for them.
Julia Rose, WHAS 11 News.
And Chief Mahoney telling Julia adding to the memorial wall is a painful start to his work week, but something he says he will continue to do. Well, a Louisville man was killed at Lake Cumberland in Russell County, Kentucky over the weekend. It happened at the Lake Cumberland State Dock in Jamestown on Saturday. That's about 2.5 hours southeast of Louisville. The Department of Fish and Wildlife says that 64-year-old Gary Burnett accidentally fell into the water, coming into contact with a boat's propeller. He died at the scene. And time now for the Storm Team forecast. And I'll tell you what, Jared, we saw some clouds out there. We have anything going on, or is it a quiet afternoon?
A couple of storms east and south of Louisville, Rachel, but here in this city, we are quiet, just hot again for today with those temps into the lower part of the 90s. Here's Max HD radar and visible satellite. Yeah, mostly sunny skies, Louisville and west, but eastward we have some downpours popping up over parts of Franklin and Shelby counties, also pushing close and just south of Eminence and Newcastle. This is generally moving west at around 15 to 20 miles an hour. So in Shelbyville, some dark skies, a little bit of rain on the horizon here shortly. There's that track for you. So I step out of the way. Eminence, 9 minutes to you. Hooper, 14 minutes away. Veachland, 18 minutes. Shelbyville, 24 minutes. And Smithfield, the next 35 minutes. Some of that rain slowly pushing back toward the west. Just like yesterday, these storms originated east of the viewing area, and they're moving backwards into the I-71, I-64 corridor. If they hold together, they might get closer to the metro over the next hour or hour and a half. We'll watch that for you close. There they are, big clouds farther up toward the east and northeast. Live Morgan and Morgan HD Camera Network view from Review Restaurant Lounge here in downtown Louisville. Pretty clouds there as seen about 25 miles off in the distance. Low 90s for us. Dew point in the mid-60s, humidity 42%. That makes it feel like 95 as of 4 o'clock. A north wind helps us out a little bit, around 10 miles an hour. Allergy levels are sky high. Pollen counts up there in the high category for ragweed for the next couple, 3 days at least. The low 90s are here again today from our area and southward, but these numbers 2 to 4 degrees shy of this time yesterday. We were at 96 for that high just yesterday afternoon. So 93, I guess we're going in the right direction, slowly but surely at least. Couple of showers off and on, but otherwise pretty quiet across the eastern part of the country. High pressure is generally in place from the Great Lakes down through the Ohio and Tennessee Valley regions. And over the next day, day and a half, no big change to that song and dance. Mainly dry for tomorrow. Could squeak out a stray shower, but that rain chance 10% or less, we think, with highs still hot in the lower 90s. Here comes the game-changing cold front on Wednesday. Good chance of a few showers and storms popping up in Indiana and then pushing south closer to Louisville by Wednesday evening. And after that, some good weather pushing in for Thursday and Friday. More on that in a second. Future casts for tonight, we're going to fall back from those 90s into the 80s and low to mid-70s overnight. Any showers ending by sunset. Into tomorrow we go. Partly sunny skies, mainly dry. Upper 80s, lower 90s. Then on into your Wednesday, that chance of a shower or storm beginning north, pushing south later in the day, with those highs from 85 to 90. Here comes that front from the north and northwest. Relief certainly in store. Less humid, cooler conditions from Thursday right through the weekend. Here's the tropics. This is Tropical Depression 8 and 9. They're going to affect parts of the Carolinas and Florida, and we'll have a complete track on that for you in our second half hour. In the meantime, here's your 7-day forecast, Rachel. Lower 90s the next 2 days, then back in the low to mid 80s. September begins. It's going to feel excellent. Thursday through Labor Day weekend, slowly heating up, but low humidity winning out overall.
All right, Jared, and those tropical storms that look like Van Gogh. Just a little bit. Hey, and still ahead, just some of the faces who will be honored at the Muhammad Ali Humanitarian Awards next month, the work being done, and how you can help change the world.
We just hope that it some way helps and eases whatever it is you're going through, and we
And talk about a helping hand, a local man handing out goodie bags to patients who desperately need a smile. How his own personal loss is part of that driving force.
WHAS 11 News is sponsored by Kentuckiana Allergy.
As you know, giving just one of the key core principles of Muhammad Ali. And next month, some of the faces going to be honored at the Ali Humanitarian Awards. Cindy Hensley McCain being honored with the Lifetime Achievement Award for her work on human trafficking. She's married, by the way, to Senator John McCain. This face, do you know it? Academy Award-winning actor Lou Gossett Jr., I know it, receiving the Humanitarian Award for Education. His recent years spent on his foundation called Racism, providing young adults with the tools they need for living a racially diverse and culturally inclusive life. And joining me to talk about those awards and what you can do there at home to adopt the core principles of Muhammad Ali, we have Jeannie Conkey of the Muhammad Ali Center. Thank you so much for coming. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, September 17th, and let's start with Cindy McCain, because when I saw that, I'm like, I know her. And then when you read about this work, I've read some of it, but just amazing bodies of work for these people. Tell us about hers, human trafficking.
Cindy McCain has been a philanthropist and businesswoman for decades, and we all know Senator John McCain, but she has been quietly doing her own work really around the world. She was one of the co-founders of the East Congo Initiative. She was on the board of Operation Smile. She does work through the McCain Institute. Human trafficking, as you said, is her big initiative. And she's done really a whole lot of other things behind the scenes, and we are so excited to be honoring her. And she's our first woman for Lifetime Achievement, too.
Well, and these are all people who live those core principles that Muhammad Ali, and we've learned so much about them with the 6 of them. And Lou Gossett Jr., I just thought, I remember him, of course, Academy Award, winning actor and an officer and a gentleman. But let's talk about the fact this foundation he started called a racism, because that's really what he's done in the latter part of his life.
Right, and he is, as you say, known for so many things. He's achieved everything in his life, and he is now focusing on his Racism Foundation, which could not be more timely. We spoke with Lou last week, and he wants, Louisville to be really involved. He wants to get the word out, and so we're very excited about having him come
And let's
to
talk
Louisville.
about John Staccato. We only have a few seconds left to talk to him, then I want to get to your 75 hours of service. But tell us about him. People know him from the music industry.
Right. He is from Cuba, and he's a multi-Grammy Award winner. He has his own foundation as well, and it focuses on education, it focuses on children, it focuses on a lot of different initiatives. He teaches music at 2 different universities. He's just really given a lot to himself, and we're excited to have him as well.
Let's talk about the 75 hours of service. People are looking at these going, well, I can't make an impact. And yes, you can. And it's easy to sign up and do whatever. Mowing your neighbor's yard. I mean, we've seen those young men here in Louisville. A perfect example.
Yes. Well, Ali 75 is an international service initiative, and it's to honor what would have been Muhammad's 75th birthday by doing 75 hours of service over the next year. It's that simple. And you can find out more information about it on our website. You can do it on a mobile device by texting 75 for 75, and it's to carry on Muhammad's legacy. It's
Thank
very
you
easy.
so much. And boy, and like I said, it keeps growing and growing and much more to come. Thank you so much, though, for giving us the heads up on this. And we want to let you know the Ali Humanitarian Awards, again, coming up September the 17th at the Louisville Marriott downtown. Tickets, by the way, are still available. For more information on the awards and the Ali 75 service campaign, we have you linked up at WHAS11.com.
We're playing a much better opponent in game 1.
And game day is almost here. Saturday for the Cats, Thursday for the Cards. And Coach Mark Stoops on how you can't exactly be sure of what you have until you're out on the field. Kent Spencer counting us down. That's coming up next. And a recent move by quarterback Colin Kaepernick with the San Francisco 49ers not sitting well with fans. The controversy and the fallout, that is coming up in just minutes. And more controversy tonight surrounding former Congressman Anthony Weiner and allegations of sexting. What his wife, a top aide to Hillary Clinton, is saying tonight. And tonight, counting down to game day for both the Cards and the Cats. We thank you for staying with us at 4:30. Both coaches talking to reporters today for the final time before kickoff for the Cards this Thursday, for the Cats on Saturday, both home and season openers. Our sports director, Kent Spencer, on what they had to say. This is it.
Well, Thursday is an absolute massive night. Louisville, Indiana, Western Kentucky all kick off their 2016 seasons that night. And for the Cards, well, let's just say they're going to host a Charlotte 49ers team. They should handle it 7 o'clock inside Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. Earlier today, I asked Bobby Petrino when he knew it was time for his team to play a game. He said it was during the last real scrimmage when things started getting testy and a fight or two broke out. But guys who really aren't that way. That's when he knew the Cards needed to hit somebody else.
It's also a great teaching moment because, you know, there would have been a couple guys would have been out of the game and out the first half of the next game. So You kind of let it play out and see it as a coach. And I learned a long time ago, don't jump in the middle of any of that. No reason to get hit, knocked down.
I feel like that happens every year, you know. You see it all over ESPN and NFL camps too. You know, you get to going against the same guy for a month, and you know things can get chippy.
Meanwhile, Kentucky will have a much stiffer test on Saturday as they host Southern Miss, the preseason pick to win Conference USA this year. The last 2 years, the Cats have started off quick, getting 5 wins right out the gate, only to stumble down the stretch, failing to make a bowl. Mark Stoops says it's important to start the season with some juice, and he understands both fans and the media will be watching the Cats closely to see if things will be different.
It's an important game, and but you know, we do not need to put any more pressure on ourselves. We just need to go out and do what we've been doing, and have that great focus and attention to detail, and be an exciting team. And I'm excited about that myself, because I know we'll be prepared.
You know, it is a fine line, going back to the Cards for just a second, when a coach says, okay, they're starting to get testy, it's time to hit somebody else. The bad part about this business is I know you've wanted to go upside my head a few times. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're not allowed to get testy here. No, that's against the rules. That's called breaking the law.
I said, bring me another sports person to do that too. All right, Kent, thank you so much. But boy, it's time. It's here. All right, we want to talk about the weather for later in the week, and have you seen it? We may be getting a break. It's very nice. Meteorologist Jared Heil ready to smile and take the credit and say score, because I was looking and I'm like, game day, and you notice that drop.
You know, see, I was looking at the last game, which is November 26th. And I can guarantee you this is going to be a lot better than that day. No 80s coming up by the end of the season. So if you like to pick football games where the weather is really, really nice, this is the one to go to coming up Thursday night. 80 degrees, low humidity, clearing skies there at kickoff at Papa John's Cardinal Stadium. It's going to be fantastic weather for everyone out that way, holding in the 70s right through the end of that game. Here's Max HD radar and visible satellite. Louisville and westward, boy, a lot of sunshine right now and pretty hot. Lower 90s yet again for today. We have some rain farther east there from I-75 westward to our easternmost counties. On top of Newcastle, a bit of rain. Thunder and lightning heading into Shelbyville over the next few minutes. Same story very close and just south of Frankfort along Interstate 64 in southern Franklin County. Southbound, some thunder and lightning close to Springfield, Kentucky, Campbellsville, a couple of showers, and also some rain scattered about rural sections of northern Adair County. The bigger picture, that's about all she wrote for today. A little bit of rain east of I-65, but for the rest of Indiana and Kentucky, it is mainly quiet. Live Morgan and Morgan view outside your window world camera, northeast Jefferson County, showing those dark clouds up toward the north and northeast of the city. 92 right now in Louisville, rain-cooled 75 in Frankfort. That 92 feels like 95 at the airport. Here's that forecast for the evening, Rachel. 90s back into the 80s and 70s. Will drop sooner if you see some of that rain, of course. Much more on that forecast right through your weekend. Great weather expected for Labor Day weekend plans. We'll time it out for you in just a few minutes.
All right, Jared, thank you so much. Well, a sexting scandal hits the Hillary Clinton campaign. Her top aide, Huma Abedin, announcing that she is now separating from her husband, Anthony Weiner, after he was reportedly caught sending lewd messages to a woman online. It is the second such scandal for the former congressman, as ABC's Lana Zach reports.
How many chances does a disgraced politician get?
I am profoundly sorry, and for that I am profoundly sorry.
That was the question posed by the documentary Weiner following Anthony Weiner's quest for redemption after a sexting scandal cost him his seat in Congress.
Running for mayor was the straightest line to clean up the mess that I had made.
And even after a second scandal derailed his bid for New York mayor, his wife, Huma Abedin, stayed with him.
Married to one of Hillary Clinton's closest advisors.
But then came the third strike with this report by the New York Post. The photo of Weiner in his underwear texted to a friend. Abedin and Weiner's toddler son right there in the bed. Now Abedin announces she's out. In a statement, she says, Anthony and I remain devoted to doing what's best for our son, who is the light of our life. Abedin already had her share of headaches as questions about Hillary Clinton's private email server raised questions about Abedin's role in facilitating access for high-level donors to the Clinton Foundation. And her marriage was already an attack line on the campaign trail.
Huma is getting classified secrets. She's married to Anthony Weiner. who's a perv.
Huma is inside the inner circle of the campaign. This lets Donald Trump make a case that you have to question the security, question the integrity of the inner circle.
In a statement, Trump praised Abedin's decision to leave Weiner, saying she will be much better off without him. But he did call it yet another example of Clinton's, quote, bad judgment. Lana Zach, ABC News, Washington.
And some San Francisco 49ers fans are burning the jersey of quarterback Colin Kaepernick after he refused to stand during the national anthem. Videos like this one popping up on social media after Friday's preseason game. Kaepernick stayed seated during the national anthem, sparking outrage from some fans. The quarterback telling the NFL Network he can't stand up and show pride in a flag for a country that oppresses people of color.
I'll continue to sit. I'm going to continue to stand with the people that are being oppressed. When there's significant change and I feel like that flag represents what it's supposed to represent, I'll stand.
Kaepernick did say yesterday he doesn't mean any disrespect to the military, but the issue, he says, of racial injustice needs to be addressed. The quarterback says he also has received positive feedback. He won't likely face a fine from the NFL. Players are encouraged to stand during the national anthem, but it is not a requirement. And now to a local man turning his pain into good deeds. He lost his wife to cancer 1 year ago, but he's now turning that sorrow into something positive. Acts of kindness for other patients at the James Graham Brown Cancer Center. Our Michaela McDonald with tonight's Do Something story.
Joe, my name is Mark Walling. Nice to meet you.
Mark Walling is making his rounds at the James Graham Brown Cancer Center.
White blood cell count is up and all that sort of thing. That's great. That's great.
He's handing out these little bags called chemo totes.
We filled the bags with hard candy and hand sanitizer and leggings and a pair of socks. We just hope that it some way helps and eases whatever it is you're going through. And we pray for you and wish you the very best with what you're dealing with.
I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, Ronnie. Thank you.
Walling doesn't know any of these patients, but he has an idea of what they're going through.
Back in January of 2015, my wife, Tracy, of 38 years, was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia. She entered the hospital on January the 7th of 2015 and fought a hard battle for 8.5 months and passed away on August the 21st of 2015.
Now, a year after his wife passed away, Walling is back at the clinic handing out the totes and visiting the doctors and nurses who cared for Tracy.
I miss her. I miss her every day. Trying to get by, yeah, just day by day, but I'm doing okay. Yeah, I know. We all miss her, and I will miss her. I'll miss her forever. She's a great lady, wasn't she?
The Walling family and Tracy's friend Shiloh Smaldone started a drive with the goal of collecting 30 totes, but received almost 140. Many dedicated to Tracy, but some to loved ones who have fought their own battles with cancer.
Our hope is that these bags, we've stuffed them with love, we've prayed over them, that it's a way to just brighten someone's day and touch them, whether they can use the contents themselves or maybe if they can pass it on to a friend or loved one who's here to help them.
Dr. William C. calls this a wonderful gesture for patients.
It means so much for our patient when they go through such a harsh chemotherapy treatment with transplant or not. This is such a valuable supply.
And roughly 100 individuals and families donated totes and dedicated them in honor of a friend or family member. Smaldone says they received many donations for the contents of the totes as well, including from cancer survivors and an oncology nurse. Michaela McDonald, WHAS 11 News.
What a nice story, Michaela. Thank you so much. And we are working on these stories tonight on WHAS 11 beginning at 5 o'clock. Doug Proffitt joining us now with the preview of what's new coming up. Doug?
Hi there, Rachel, and good afternoon, everybody. Is Governor Matt Bevin being devious when it comes to changes to Kentucky's Medicaid program? That's what Louisville's Congressman John Yarmuth is saying tonight, hanging in the balance 500,000 people and their medical care. So we are looking into the claims of both sides straight ahead. And we're also going to bring you an update on a 3-year-old girl who was blind, adopted from China, now living in Starlight, Indiana. How a local school there is helping her make great progress, the difference they've made for her so far. See you right here with more local news. It's beginning in just a few minutes tonight at 5. Rachel?
All right, Doug, thank you so much. Well, Beyonce slays at the MTV Video Music Awards. How she made history last night. Plus. Oh my, it is not your average alphabet song. Never sounded like that at my house. A Louisiana toddler belts out her ABCs in a video that is going viral.
Either sweating it out or seeing a few downpours, depending on what part of the viewing area you're in right now. Some rain east, sunny and hot farther west. That forecast for your evening plans coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, your Kentucky Lottery jackpots. Mega Millions, $84 million. The Powerball, $154 million.
The Kentucky Lottery, fueling imagination, funding education.
Well, if you didn't see it, Beyonce stole the show at the Video Music Awards with an epic 15-minute performance.
What's worse, looking jealous or crazy, Well, like being walked all over lately, I'd rather be crazy.
Queen Bey walking the red carpet with mothers who have lost children to gun violence and police killings, also paying tribute on stage to lives lost. Beyonce closed the show by winning the night's biggest prize, earning Video of the Year for her hit Formation. It was her 8th award of the night and the 21st VMA of her career, more than any other artist.
And I could not have done this without you guys. I dedicate this award to the people of New Orleans. God bless you guys. Thank you.
And other big performances of the night included Rihanna as well as Britney Spears. And speaking of performers, a toddler from Louisiana is wowing the internet with her rendition of the alphabet song. I'd say she's getting into that just a little bit. That's 2-year-old Violet from Shreveport, Louisiana. Her mom recorded this sweet video, put it on Facebook, where it's been viewed more than 3 million times. Looks like little Violet may have a future on Broadway. Jared, I bet you never sounded that good doing your ABCs.
No.
Not that
you know
much
what?
drama.
I just focused on getting them right. That was all that mattered.
That was
to
enough.
me.
Baby steps. I get it.
That's right. A little rain across our eastern counties this afternoon. Otherwise, mostly sunny skies from Louisville and back toward the west, along and west of I-65. There's max HG radar for you and visible satellite. Could see a little bit of rain off and on close to Louisville a bit later in the evening. Just like yesterday, the storms have gathered closer to I-75 and are working back to the west at around 20 miles an hour. So Shelby County seeing some of that rain. Shelbyville down through Waddy, just north of Lawrenceburg and Anderson County, and just south there of Frankfort, again pushing west and southwest, 10 to 15 miles an hour. We're tracking it for you in that direction with max HG radar. Shelbyville, 1 minute to you. Let's say it's there, right? Into Olive Branch, 16 minutes. Veach, 27 minutes. Yoder and Wayside over the next half hour. Some of that rain could push in your direction. Nothing severe, just some thunder and lightning, very heavy rain for a few minutes. Live French Lick camera at the Pete Dye Golf Course, Morgan & Morgan HG Camera Network. Like I said, our western counties seeing tons of sunshine right now. Lower 90s, humidity 42%. Makes it feel like 95. Lots of 80s and 90s all across the Ohio Valley, but these numbers are a few degrees off the extreme heat that we had just yesterday with mid and upper 90s across the Ohio Valley to wrap up the weekend. A couple of showers off and on passing through Indiana and Kentucky, but overall, high pressure is keeping major weather players at bay for us. Heading into tonight, even for tomorrow, mainly dry on your Tuesday, a 10% shower chance at most, with highs in the lower part of the 90s. Here comes a cold front by Wednesday. This will give us our next best chance of scattered showers and storms late Wednesday into Wednesday evening. Futurecast hour by hour for tonight, falling back from those 90s into the 80s and 70s overnight, with just a few clouds and dry conditions expected after dark. For tomorrow, partly sunny skies start to finish. 5 o'clock temps, either side of 90, and many of us staying dry on your Tuesday. That changes just a bit heading into Wednesday. That front moves in, sparking a chance of a shower or storm later in the afternoon into the evening. Then we are done with rain Thursday, right through the long holiday weekend as this front passes through. High pressure gathers, less humid, cooler conditions, low to mid 80s, lots of sunshine Thursday right through Friday and Saturday. Here's the bigger view of the tropics. Gaston is the big hurricane, just shy of Category 3 major strength. That stays away from the U.S. and Bermuda even. 8 and 9, the depressions we have right now, pretty close to the U.S., really. 8 is going to get very close to Cape Hatteras by tomorrow, and Tropical Depression 9 is going to recurve as well. Could strengthen into a tropical storm and affect land interests in Florida, as well as Georgia and the Carolinas from Thursday right through Friday and Saturday. But notice there, the first system recurves and leaves the U.S. in just the next day or two. So after tomorrow, it's mainly this storm that's going to be an issue, maybe for vacation interest for the long holiday weekend. It should be out of Florida by Friday, but could be skirting through the Carolinas or just offshore Friday into Saturday. We'll keep you updated. Here's that 7-day forecast, Rachel. Low 90s the next couple of days. That chance of a shower or storm for Wednesday. And then great weather builds in. Cannot stress that enough. Fantastic stuff. First days of September, right through Labor Day weekend, mid and upper 80s, lows at night, 50s and 60s.
All right, Jared, thank you so much. Well, they were wacky, creative, and somewhat airborne. A look at the top teams from Louisville's first Flugtag competition. Stay tuned. Well, Louisville's first Red Bull Flugtag competition drew a big crowd to Waterfront Park. Not bad on some of them, right? Team Mad Max getting some good distance, beating out 33 other teams to claim the grand prize. Mercy No Mercy won the People's Choice Awards. Their device was built by students at Mercy Academy, an all-girls STEM school.
This award really takes the cake. I mean, knowing that we've got the most fans, the best fans, best group of girls, kids going, I mean, this is awesome.
Yay, Mercy. And there was no lack of creativity among the Flugtag teams, with floats inspired by Muhammad Ali bourbon and Kentucky Fried Chicken. Well, you've heard the outrage about the cost of those EpiPens, now a generic version in the works. So is it enough to help? And good news tonight for parents of children with severe allergies. The drug maker Mylan is working to calm some of the outrage over the price hike of those EpiPens. The company is working on a generic version of the drug, which will hit the market in a few weeks. It'll cost $300 for a 2-pack. That's about half the price of a 2-pack of brand name EpiPens. The cost of the medication, as you know, has risen from about $100 to $600 over the past decade, putting a strain on families like the Morris family, who we profiled. They have twins with peanut allergies. Michelle Morris tells me she's going to see how all this shakes out with the generic. She thinks it's a move perhaps to quiet all the negative publicity, not really correcting the problem. And that's it for us here at 4 o'clock. Your top stories continuing right now at 5 with Doug and Renee.